Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Maratha Chamber of Commerce, Industries and Agriculture, I, Madhura, welcome you all to the MCCIA Pune Expo 2024, a premier business exhibition having participation of industry segments like engineering, defense, IT, IoT, solar, industrial safety and sustainability. The 3-day expo that starts today promises valuable insights from government leaders, business heads and key decision makers, along with fostering an environment conducive to business connections, networking and industrial growth. To take the event ahead, I request Mr. Prashant Girbane, Director General MCCIA, to please propose a welcome address.
सर्वप्रथम आपल्या सर्वांचे इथं स्वागत आहे. Let me begin by welcoming each and every one of you. To begin with, on the stage, very thankful that Shri Sekhar Singh, Municipal Commissioner PCMC, has agreed to join us. So a round of applause to welcome Mr. Sekhar Singh. Also, Mr. Rajendra Nimbalkar, who is Managing Director of MCCIA, Government of Maharashtra. We have Mr. Sanjay Giri, Joint Director, Department of Industrial Safety and Health. And we would also have Mr. George Verghese, Vice President and CHRO for the Kirloskar Group. So welcome each and every one of them. We as in me and Mr. Karandikar, because Mr. Karandikar is immediate past President. Mr. Sanjay Kirloskar couldn't be here today, and hence we requested immediate past President Mr. Karandikar to kind of preside over this function. Put your hands together to welcome our special guest today, the dignitaries who have come from Indonesia. Thank you so much and welcome to Pune. We welcome each and every one of you. I can see some officers from the services, industry folks. We also have people who are part of the executive committee and board of MCCIA. So welcome to each and every one of you. As you're aware, it's a good idea to repeat some things, though you know them. One of those things is Pune, and by Pune I mean Pune PCMC, Pune district, is well known for its prowess in many areas, and one of those prominent areas is engineering goods, auto sector, electronic sector, defense manufacturing, food processing. Because of all of this, and many of you represent this sector, today, among the 800 plus districts in the country, Pune is one of the top 5 when it comes to merchandise export. And many of you have a good and great contribution in it. So a round of applause for yourself for making that happen. When you look at the 800 plus districts of India, Pune is number 1 when it comes to engineering goods exports. And yes, there is no penalty for clapping. Nobody is harmed by clapping. Clapping is good, it's all okay. Not just now, but through the day. The interesting part when we say Pune, you know that the concentration of industries in Pune district is not far from here or right here in PCMC, right? Here in Bhosri, not too far from here Chakan, not too far from here Ranjangaon. It's all happening here. This is what makes it India's number 1 district when it comes to engineering goods export. To get these individuals who represent this industry to come together, to interact with each other, to meet each other, to exchange business with each other, and not just with each other, but also with people from outside the state, outside the country. That's the goal of organizing such an expo. We have more than 150 stalls. Many of you are manning some of those stalls. Please do visit each other. We are making sure that this is very well advertised through the newspaper, television, and radio, apart from the social media, and the email groups that we have in the chamber, to ensure that a maximum set of people are able to come, visit these stalls, meet all of you, and hopefully that would mean even bigger business for all of you. We would continue to do that. Apart from all of this, before I hand it over, because I'm very keen to listen to all of them as you are, I must also stand here to thank the sponsors that we have. That's Kirloskar Group, Sidbi, Accurate, Ms. Ram Jogdan here, Udyogi, and if I Swift. That's right, I said it right. So thank you so much for sponsoring this, because it's thanks to you people that we get to organize such a thing and more businesses get to interact with each other. Right? There is a whole lot more to say, but I'm keen to listen to them. So I'm going to stop here and hand it over to my colleague Madhura. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I now request Mr. Deepak Karandikar, immediate past president MCCIA, to please present the opening remarks.
Thank you, ma'am. I would like to welcome all the distinguished guests who accepted our invitation to be here. The function, the Expo today, in spite of their very busy schedules, the participants who come here expect a lot in return. So please join me in applauding them for their commitment for industry and in particular the MSMEs. Thank you. I would also like to acknowledge the presence of officials from the Ministry MSME, Ministry of Commerce, Ministry of Industry, Government of India, Department of Industry, Government of Maharashtra, as well as diplomatic community in India. As you probably know, the Chamber, MCCIA, has been predominantly focusing on supporting the MSMEs. In my tenure, we had a lot of projects, and I believe we will continue to do that. With capability building initiatives offering certain services in group or cluster mode, policy representations, networking opportunities, and exhibitions like the Pune Expo we are having now, or even smaller focused events such as vendor development. I have been associated with the Chamber for about 2 decades. It was then that the first Pune Expo, way back in 2002, was our experiment. We took a pause because we wanted to be more effective and moved to focus events and mega conferences like the Pune Business Center, Pune International Business Summit, PIBS as we call it. We are back with the Pune Expo and hope this will succeed. As Prashant mentioned, we are trying to revive the Pune Expo and make it meaningful with changing business environment. So hopefully we will keep adding newer industry segments than what we have at the moment and make it even more relevant to the business audience. I hope the takeaways are many. I believe exhibitions like this one help the industry to showcase its strengths and explore newer business prospects, test their new products, services, and listen to the potential customers. It goes both ways. About their newer requirements, the MSMEs and startups find it worthwhile to exhibit their offerings to their potential customers. This also opens avenues for them to raise the bar and expand their horizons in domestic and international markets. I appeal to all the exhibitors as well as visitors and participants at the concurrent events to make the most of this unique opportunity of networking and exploring possible technologies or solutions that could benefit them. The most important is what is your takeaway for both exhibitors as well as visitors. So I wish all the sponsors, exhibitors, and visitors all the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, we would like to felicitate our special guests as well as representatives from our sponsor companies. First, I request Mr. Karandikar to please felicitate our guests, Mr. Shekhar Singh, Municipal Commissioner, PCMC. Thank you. I request Mr. Karandikar to please felicitate Mr. Sanjay Giri, Joint Director, Department of Industrial Safety and Health. Mr. Rajendra Nimbalkar, IAS, MD, Maharashtra Small Industries Development Corporation. Thank you, Karandikar, sir. I request Mr. Prashant Girbane, DG MCCI, to please felicitate our sponsors, Mr. George Varghese, CHRO Kirloskar Group.
Come forward.
Mr. Yashwant Kulkarni, Deputy GM SIDBI. Next, I would invite on stage Mr. Saurabh Zogdand. we have Ram Jogdan instead from Ramalex. Next, I take pleasure to invite Kiran Jadhav from Accurate Group. Kiran Jadhav or Sachin Vaidya, do we have you here? Okay. Mr. Chetan Nalavade, member of National Executive Committee, Safety Applicants Manufacturers Association. Mr. Krishna Marathe, MD, Swift Technoplast Private Limited. And Mr. Prashant Vadkar, Udyogi Plastic Private Limited. Thank you. A big thank you to all the sponsors for all your support and contribution for this event. Thank you, Prashant sir. Now I invite on stage Mr. Shekhar Singh, IAS, Municipal Commissioner, PCMC, for his special remarks.
Mr. Rajen Nimarkar, Mr. Deepak Randikar, Mr. Sanjay Giri, Mr. George Varghese, Prashant, all the members in the audience, various representatives from the industry, some people that we have from Indonesia, some delegation from Indonesia. All of you, a very good morning. I was just joking with Prashant that my exposure to MCCIA events is hitting the roof, and I keep talking, one doesn't understand what to talk to also, because A, I don't have immediate expertise on industries, on how Pune region is performing, etc., etc. But given that PCMC has had a very long relationship with industry, I think what Prashant, may talk about is also of how industry and we can come together in various things, how we've come together till now, what I see on the horizon, what further best that we can achieve. Would start with a survey that Prashant recently sent me that MCCIA conducted. Quite a healthy growth, or at least in the perception that we see in the industry, being reported across multiple publications as well. And about 81% of you feel that the growth in coming times is going to be quite good, which is a very good sign for overall local economy. Of course, as Prashant was saying, Pune local economy is a very big contributor to overall national economy, which holds a very good sign going forward. And in fact, I think 37% of you are expecting more than 20% growth, which itself is quite a big number and quite a big jump. So I think Pune is doing quite well. Overall, I'm assuming that, and MCCI surveys also are pointing to that fact. I think going forward, the way that the rapid pace that the country as a whole is taking, and Maharashtra has decided to take a partake in that entire $5 trillion economy that we keep saying, and 1 trillion that needs to come from Maharashtra, and out of which I don't know how much MCCI or PMR has decided to contribute, but I'm assuming it is going to be a after Bombay that PMR would be contributing to. And increasingly, I think the bifurcation between Pune and Bombay is also soon going to vanish. We are itself going to become like a big megalopolis, is what I feel. Already a megalopolis, but more so going forward in about 10 to 15 years. And the kind of integration probably that exists today will increase manifold. I don't have any doubt in my mind, and that's how I see the development happening. And that is something that is bound to happen in the years to come. In terms of what we've been doing with the industry, multiple things. There are few, just 2 or 3 points, quick points that I like to emphasize. Probably we have some members of the industry. We're also having an HR conclave next week, Prashant, where I thought to also raise these points, but today is also a good forum to just quickly flag those points. I don't want to go into detail. You all are in the mood for Expo and exhibition. Don't want to start boring you with Sarkari details. But there are a few things I think where I intend to have more and more collaboration with all of you. On the infra front, I know we keep taking a battering in some things, but I think things are moving very firmly on a lot of grounds. Ring road development has started just as of last 10 days. So we hope to see that happening very, very soon. Finally, the Nashik work is going to start. The Nashik Fata to Chakan elevated corridor is going to start. We are very firmly moving ahead on the DPR for the metro front also, from Bhakti Shakti to Wakar to Nashik Fata to Chakan. That is something that we are in the stages of developing the DPR. And once this ring road along with the radial roads on Nashik Highway, Solapur Highway, Nagar Highway and Satara Highway happens, which we are seeing a timeline, if I'm not wrong, about 3 to 4 years, I think things will be much better in terms of the movement of either freight or vehicles and otherwise as well. In terms of the other things that are happening, there is one initiative that I particularly wanted to bring to the notice of the industries, and that is a lighthouse initiative, a Kaushalyam initiative that we are saying. That's a skilling initiative that the city is running. I invite all the industries to become part of it. Today is not the forum to go into detail on that. We'll be inviting all of you to become a part of that. But the only way that I can see is that, Prashant, if MCCIA can start becoming an anchoring partner with us on that count, so that we understand what industry wants and what we can offer, and industry understands what we have to offer. And if it matches, it matches. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But if the match can be better, then, you know, the further things get convenienced to both the stakeholders. So Lighthouse is an initiative where we are wanting to skill about 1.5 lakh youth in the next 5 years, and that's the target that we've set for ourselves. Skilling, I won't want to say too much of advanced skilling. We are not going into that, but we are trying to be a platform where we get the kids, and especially these are all disadvantaged kids from our low-income communities, from slums or whatever you want to call it, and trying to take them to a certain level from where they can begin to decide. So where they can begin to decide, they have the options, they have the exposure, they can decide this is the skilling that I want, this is the upgradation that I want, and some bit of life skilling that we are trying to do with them. So it's a bit of a different concept, but we are also trying to have a match where we can become like a matchmaking thing between these youth and the industry, and probably with the help of MCCI that can happen in a much more structured way. So Prashant, I'd like to pick your brains going forward along with the new president, Mr. Kirloskar, who's not here today, but I think we are meeting very soon in a different forum. The next thing that I just wanted to flag is with regards to various sustainability initiatives that the city is trying to take. PCMC is one of those places in Maharashtra for which we can't be very proud of the current AQI levels. We've still not reached the levels of my hometown, which is Delhi. We don't intend to move anywhere near those levels. But if we don't take steps well in time, God only knows where we might be heading towards. We have started few steps from our side. I would also like industries to come forward. A lot of you, especially the bigger industries, are taking very firm-footed steps as far as ESG norms are concerned. Solar is a thing of the past. That is something that is, you guys have already done it. But especially from a MSME point of view, with the 100 kilowatt open access that has now happened in the green open access rules, I think if that is some thing that MCCI can also set a target for yourselves in terms of the further things, especially for micro and small units, I think that can go a long way in terms of us trying to move towards a decarbonization strategy when we talk about the city as a whole. And if we talk about net neutrality, etc., I don't really like these buzzwords because, they're very easy to throw. The 2070, no one has seen 2070. I'm not saying about national, international level, but when cities throw these words, I feel a little responsible before I can make those statements. So we are trying to baseline our carbon emissions. For PCMC, naturally to say, industry carbon emissions are going to become a very, very critical part of how city views its own carbon emissions, and industry are going to become a very critical part of it. So at some point of time, maybe MCCI and city can collaborate in trying to understand what is the decarbonization strategy that various industries are taking up, where city can pitch in, where we can facilitate. A lot of things industries are doing themselves, and probably we don't need to do much on that. Just the last point that I wanted to say, Hadikar sir, my predecessor before me, he started a city strategy document, Karandikar Saab, in 2017, 2018. That was a very good start. One of the first strategy documents that any municipal corporation in Maharashtra was doing. I wouldn't say we've come out with absolute flying colors, but we've come out with okay colors. And we are trying to identify few gaps in that. It's been 8 years since then, and we are trying to reformulate or revision it into PCMC at 50. We turn 50 as a city, administration at least. City precedes much before that. But PCMC turns 50 in 2032, and we are trying to envision, we are trying to visualize how people would want to see PCMC at 50, how they would want to visualize their city at 50. And industry is the most critical part in that entire visioning. It's also a very critical part because I see a trend of industrial to residential also happening in our city. From Greaves to Premier to a lot of other things, which is actually a force of economics. It will happen. It has happened throughout the world. The only thing that we want to do with caution as far as city administration is concerned, that we don't want to lose our industrial character. And once we say that, we want to still remain like an industrial city, and that has been the whole story behind the prosperity that PCMC has, and the story behind the entire influx of skilled manpower that we get from throughout the world. We see few signs of that happening. We have about 4 hyper data centers in various stages of development, right from the one Microsoft is building right across my house, to Adani's hyper data center, which is probably in initial phases, to CDAC, which is a government-based hyper data center, and also Singtel, which is already operating from the Tata Telecommunication premises. So these are the kind of shifts that are happening in terms of how we visualize the whole industrial sector in PCMC. And I'm not going about Talegaon, Chakan, etc. That's a different ballgame altogether. But when we visualize PCMC as an industrial city, we are very wary and we are very careful and cautious about the shift that's happening. I think that's a discussion that I like to open with the industry department also someday, so that when we are preparing our vision for 2032, we are also very clear about what role industry plays in that vision for 2032, what is the expectation from the industry, and where the city needs to deliver for its citizens, but at the same time also for the industry as well. But once again, thank you so much for calling me today for this expo. MCCIA events are always a pleasure to attend, and you feel a part of the entire ecosystem that our city is based in. Thank you once again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. It's always very inspiring to hear from you about various initiatives as well as the roadmap. Now we would like to officially release the Exhibitors Directory of Pune Expo 2024. I request all the guests to please launch it. I request my colleagues to please help. Thank you, everyone. I invite Mr. Sanjay Giri, Joint Director, Department of Industrial Safety and Health, to please address with his special remarks.
Good morning, all. आदरणीय शेखर संघ सर, राजेंद्र निंबाळकर सर, प्रशांत गिरबाने सर, दीपक करंदीकर जी, जॉर्ज वर्गीस जी, प्रशांत गिरबाने जी. आज आपण इथे मराठा चेंबर ऑफ कॉमर्स, इंडस्ट्रीज अँड ॲग्रिकल्चरच्या एक्सपो करता सर्वजण एकत्र जमलेलो आहोत. आत्ताच सिंग सरांनी PCMCच्या डेव्हलपमेंटबाबत व पुढील काय काय प्रोजेक्ट्स आहेत किंवा पुढील PCMCकडून आपल्याला काय काय हेल्प करता येते त्याबाबत बोललेलं आहे. मी फक्त सेफ्टीच्या बाबतीत, इंडस्ट्रियल सेफ्टीच्या बाबतीत बोलणार आहे. तर सेफ्टी ही सेफ्टी अँड वेलबिईंग ऑफ इंडस्ट्री अँड वर्कर्स इज मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टंट. कारण ही इंडस्ट्रीच्या दृष्टीने पण महत्त्वाची आहे आणि वर्करच्या दृष्टीने पण महत्त्वाची आहे. याच्यामुळे आपण प्रोडक्टिव्हिटी लॉस पण करतो आणि ह्युमन लॉस पण करतो. आणि हे रोखण्यासाठी आता हाच एक्सपोचा एक पार्ट म्हणून आपण सेफ्टी एक्सपो पण इथे करणार आहोत. त्यासाठी वेगवेगळे जे PPEचे स्टॉल्स आहेत किंवा सेफ्टीचे स्टॉल्स आहेत ते आलेले आहेत. आणि त्याचा उपयोग आपण आपल्या इंडस्ट्रीकरता करून आपल्या इंडस्ट्रीमधील सेफ्टी कशी जपता येईल किंवा इंडस्ट्री कशी सुरक्षित करता येईल ते आपल्याला करायचं आहे. आता ह्याच्यामध्ये प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ लाईफ आणि हेल्थ हे दोन्ही महत्त्वाचे आहे, कारण ह्याच्यामधून इंडस्ट्रीयल ॲक्सिडेंट्समधून सिरियस ॲक्सिडेंट्स होतात, डिसॅबिलिटीज होतात आणि फॅटल ॲक्सिडेंट्स किंवा मेजर फायर्स पण होतात. त्याच्यामुळं जसे इकॉनॉमिक लॉसेस जसे की प्रॉपर्टी लॉस आहे किंवा फॅटॅलिटीमुळे आपल्याला त्याला कॉम्पेन्सेशन अमाऊंट द्यावे लागते, जी ती लॉस म्हणजे ती इन टर्म्स ऑफ जी काही आपल्याला प्रोडक्टिव्हिटी किंवा वर्करचं मोरल डिस्टर्ब होणार आहे ते वाचवण्याकरता आपल्याला इंडस्ट्रियल सेफ्टी खूप महत्त्वाची आहे. तर हे टाळण्याकरता आपल्याला आपण इथे जे एक्सपो केलेलं आहे किंवा त्यामधले जे ॲक्सिडेंट्स होतात त्यामध्ये स्लिप्स, ट्रिप्स, फॉल्स असतात ॲक्सिडेंटचे प्रकार, किंवा वर्क फ्रॉम हाईट असतात, मशीन गार्डिंग असतात, केमिकलचे वेगवेगळ्या प्रकारचे ॲक्सिडेंट असतात. आपल्याकडे कुरकुमचा केमिकल झोन आहे, तिथे कंटिन्युअस प्रोसेस इंडस्ट्री पण आहेत आणि बॅच प्रोसेस इंडस्ट्रीज पण आहेत. बॅच प्रोसेस ह्या त्याच्यामध्ये वेगवेगळे रिॲक्टर्स असतात किंवा प्रेशर वेसलवर चालणारे वेगवेगळे इक्विपमेंट्स असतात, ज्याचं की प्रेशर किंवा टेम्परेचर जर इनव्हेरिएबल झालं तर त्यामध्ये ब्लास्ट होऊ शकतो किंवा मोठ्या प्रकारची फायर तिथं लागू शकते. तर अशा प्रकारचे इन्सिडेंट्स टाळण्याकरता आपल्याला वेगवेगळे मेजर्स घ्यावे लागतात. त्यामध्ये सेफ्टी रिलीफ वॉल्स असतात किंवा प्रेशर डिस्क असतात, वेगवेगळ्या प्रकारचे आपण तिथं सेफ्टी घेतो. आता सेफ्टी ज्यावेळेस घेताना आपण वेगवेगळ्या प्रकारच्या मॉकड्रिल्स पण करतो सर, इंडस्ट्रीमध्ये मॉकड्रिल्स करतो. आत्ताच आपण एक टाटामध्ये मोठी मॉकड्रिल केली होती आणि इथे PCMCच्या अंतर्गत जे क्लोरीनचे जे वॉटर हे आहे ज्याचा पुरवठा पूर्ण शहराला होतो, PCMC शहराला होतो, तिथे पण आपण क्लोरीनच्या बाबतीमध्ये, क्लोरीन या हजार्डस वायूच्या बाबतीमध्ये एक मॉकड्रिल घेतलेली होती. त्यामध्ये आपण वर्करला आणि एम्प्लॉईजला वेगवेगळ्या प्रकारचं ट्रेनिंग रेग्युलरली दिलं पाहिजे, त्याचं मॉनिटरिंग केलं पाहिजे आणि त्याचे आता जे PPEचं जे एक्सपो लागणार आहे त्याच्यामध्ये PPEचा वापर करून सुद्धा आपण ॲक्सिडेंट टाळतो आणि इक्विपमेंट आणि मशिनरी ज्या आपल्या फॅक्टरीमध्ये असतात किंवा इंडस्ट्रीमध्ये असतात त्याचं मेंटेनन्स केलं पाहिजे आणि एम्प्लॉईचं जे पार्टिसिपेशन आहे ते ट्रेनिंगच्या बाबतीमध्ये किंवा सेफ्टीच्या बाबतीमध्ये वाढवलं पाहिजे. आणि बिहेवियरल बेस्ड सेफ्टी हा जो प्रकार आहे तो आता त्याच्यामुळे खूप ॲक्सिडेंट होत आहेत बिहेवियरल बेस्ड सेफ्टीमुळे, कारण ॲक्सिडेंटचं प्रमाण पाहता आज आता AIचा वापर आणि आपण रोबोटिक जे आहे रोबोटिक सेफ्टी म्हणजे रोबोटिकचा वापर करून आपण मशीनवर काम करतो, पण तिथे काही लो फॉल्स राहिल्यामुळं अशा प्रकारचे म्हणजे त्याच्यामुळे सुद्धा ॲक्सिडेंट्स व्हायला लागले आहेत. म्हणजे जसं की सेन्सर आहे ते डिसेबल करून ठेवणं किंवा मॅनिप्युलेशन करून ठेवणं आणि त्यानंतर वर्कर ज्यावेळेस तिथे एंट्री करतो त्यावेळेस त्याचे ॲक्सिडेंट होण्याचे प्रमाण आहे. तर अशा प्रकारचे ॲक्सिडेंट टाळण्याकरता आपल्याला BBS सेफ्टी ही महत्त्वाची आहे. आणि आपण इथे जे जमलेलं आहात ते पूर्ण एक्झिबिशनचा म्हणजे सेफ्टीचा एक्झिबिशन असो किंवा इंडस्ट्रियल ग्रोथच्या बाबतीमध्ये MSMEने जे केलेलं एक्झिबिशन आहे त्याचा लाभ घ्यावा, असं एवढं हे करून मी माझे 2 शब्द संपवतो. थँक्यू.
थँक्यू सर. इंडस्ट्रियल सेफ्टीचं महत्त्व आणि त्याचे विविध पैलू तुम्ही आम्हाला सांगितलेत त्याबद्दल तुमचे खूप खूप आभार. Next, I invite Mr. Rajendra Nimbalkar, IAS, MD, Maharashtra Small Industries Development Corporation, to present special remarks. Thank you, sir.
श्री शेखर सिंह जी, श्री दीपक करंदीकर जी, श्री प्रशांत जी, श्री जॉर्ज वर्गीस जी, Mr. Sanjay Giri ji, and all present dignitaries and entrepreneurs here. Very good morning to all of you. At the outset, I wish to admire and congratulate MCCIA and the team for organizing this today's Pune Expo. They are continually organizing this expo every year. Not only just such exhibitions, but since last 2 years, I am observing they are taking various initiatives to promote the industrial development of Pune and surrounding areas and addressing several issues of MSMEs, maybe it how so small that entrepreneur may be or how so big that it may be. So I congratulate them for their all efforts. Friends, as we are moving towards Vikasit Bharat, when we are celebrating our 100 years of independence in 2047, and our nation is aiming at 5 trillion economy in next 5 years, that is by 2028, our state is also aiming to contribute by moving from present 510 billion economy to 1 trillion economy. And industry sector has a much bigger share and contribution in this particular efforts. As far as MSME is concerned, in our state we have about 51 lakhs Udyam registered MSMEs and maybe similar number who are not yet onboarded, out of which about more than 20% I find are in Pune district alone. So that is the big number of MSMEs presence in our state as well as in our district. And that gives us a pride for contributing our state's economic development. Out of this 51 lakhs, just to establish the overall inclusiveness, about 19% are women entrepreneurs and about 8% entrepreneurs belong to SC/ST category. And the state is promoting this industrial development and MSME sector by providing various policies. Maybe it's logistic policy, EV policy, textile policy, then agro and food processing policies. And in addition, various initiatives of the state government, maybe in the form of capital and loan subsidy, in terms of tariff subsidies, providing impetus to startups, and various other efforts that state is contributing. As far as MSME's overall promotion is concerned, the state government's 2 departments at present are working for that. That is our Director of Industries, DC office, and MCCIA has recently, 2 years before, has assumed a role of a champion for MSMEs by participating in Government of India's and World Bank funded RAM program. Mr. Prashant ji is the part of that program, right from assessing the various state government's proposals. And I'm very happy to say that our state government got the highest grants of over 200 crore rupees for promoting MSMEs in our state for next 3 to 4 years. And one of the key factors which was unique compared to other states was our state also committed to the equal matching grants of 200 crores. So the overall 400 crores corpus was to be spent for MSMEs promotions in next 3 to 4 years. And this is really very challenging task because MCCIA so far was never been so active as far as MSMEs promotion. It was just holding some exhibitions or giving some aid for some little bit promotions. But recently, because of this RAMP initiatives, we are really very happy to participate, and we are really actively working to address all the issues of MSMEs. Maybe the 200 crores may not be a big amount, but the overall zeal and our passion and the state government's equal support, maybe in terms of funding or in terms of policy making or as a diagnosis exercise through MCCIA, they are understanding and taking efforts to revise or to add to their policy making or to through their various interventions. As far as the RAM program is concerned, we have focused on capacity building and skill development. We are also addressing the marketing issues, just like the today's objective of this exhibition is to have B2B interactions and to develop more business opportunities. We are also having AVDP program, that is Anchor Vendor Development Program. We are also aiming at reverse buyer-seller meet, wherein we are promoting the exports of our MSMEs. Very soon, those will be organized. Very soon, we will be launching our own IT portal, which will be very comprehensive and integrated portal, which will provide all government schemes and various opportunities. The skill development and capacity building, as it is, we are conducting through various our implementation partners. MCCIA is the first of those partners who have initiated the capacity building in their own campus and other places. And I really thankful and grateful to MCCIA, particularly Prashant ji and Karadnikar ji, for taking all efforts despite so many hurdles in between, because we were also, Prashant ji, new to this. So some initial issues raised, but we try to cope with that and we are moving ahead. And as of now, since April onwards, in between 2 times we had code of conduct, but still we have trained more than 20,000 MSMEs in last 6 months with the help of MCCI and similar other 20 our implementation partners. We are also addressing skill gaps and conducting skill development programs through various other agencies also like DICKI, then ASSOCHAM, and MCCIA also is participating to that. So these are all initiatives through that 200 crore worth program, and that will definitely change the overall mindset of MSMEs looking at the government from the point of view providing various aids and help when they actually need them. So I really feel very proud to be associated with the sector, and we are very open to listen to you. This portal is very soon going to be launched. We are just waiting for new government to be formed. It has to be very ceremonial also. So let the new government form. We have already done very much preparatory exercise. We did not go for launching immediately once the program was started. We first did our legwork and preparatory work, and now we are really very confident that we will announce some meaningful progress that has happened and meaningful things that will going to happen. So it's really very great initiatives that Government of Maharashtra, Government of India is supporting us. Also associations like MCCI, they are helping us. So please participate in all our programs, provide your suggestions, and my office is in Belad State, and very soon we are establishing office in Pune and some other places also. We have office in Delhi, and very recently we participated in the International Trade Fair, which every year it happens from 14th November to 27th November, and we received a very excellence award also recently for that, and that provides opportunity to all MSMEs to showcase their products. And this today's exhibition, I am very confident will also provide you bigger opportunities to increase your business, to interact with each other, and to find solutions to whatever problems that you face. So I thank MCCI and organizers for inviting me here and providing me a little bit opportunity to share our efforts and attend this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. It's always a pleasure for us to associate and collaborate with you on various fronts. I now request Mr. George Varghese, CHRO Kirloskar Group, to please address the gathering.
It's never a good idea to speak towards the last. I promise that I'll keep it short. Respected dignitaries on the dais, it's my honor and pleasure to share the stage with you. My esteemed colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Let me begin by complimenting MCCIA for all the work that you've been doing for the industry, especially for this city. And we all know the undisputed role that MCCIA has played in developing the industry and in making Pune one of the biggest industrial hubs of the country. And I've had the opportunity to talk to many of the present and the erstwhile leaders at MCCIA, and as I read about the glorious past of this organization, I developed a sense of admiration and respect for this organization and the way it has evolved over the years. Evolution is the most fundamental to progress and survival. Charles Darwin taught us that. And as I look at organizations which has stood the test of times, organizations which have stood for generations, it is their constant ability to evolve in times of change that makes them survive and be successful. It is also a testimony to the kind of leadership that they have, because I think it just talks about a lot more beyond just an organization surviving for so many years. So MCCI is one such organization. I mean, it has survived. It's established in 1934, and the mere fact that 90 years later, today we are standing at the inauguration of Pune Expo. It just shows how this organization has changed over times and how it has stayed relevant. And if one looks at the current state of the world, and the times which we live in, what we find equally challenging and exciting is the pace of change. Change is not new. Change has always been there. We've seen multiple, cycles. We've seen the agricultural revolution. We've seen the industrial revolution. We've seen the IT revolution. But what is now happening is the pace of change, and whether we are able to cope up with that pace of change. And who else other than MCCIA, with all its checkered past, to shepherd us, the industry, through this waves of change. And, there are clearly topics which, all of us in business worry about every day in about these sweeping changes, things around AI and machine learning and things around IoT and, all of these changes that is sweepingly hitting us. For the first time in our evolution as a species, we are seeing decision-making going out of our hands. Till today, for all the changes that has happened, it has always been that the decision ultimately is left to the human being. But with machine learning and AI and big data and models built around it, algorithms are slowly taking over decision-making. And it has huge ramifications for all of us at a personal level and for the industry at large. And I do think, but it is a great opportunity as well for all of us. We'll have, I was going through all the different stalls that are there and the agenda for the next 3-4 days. It is all built around the future. It is all built around topics which is very similar to the ones which I spoke about, or whether it is sustainability, clean energy, all of this. And I just want to leave a thought on sustainability and energy transition. For me, it is not a challenge. For me, it is a great opportunity. Because if you look at our sector and the kind of industries that we are all in, whether it is in the power generation space, whether it is in the auto component space, we are at the heart of this. This is not a compliance agenda for us. This is not a fringe topic for us. It is at the heart of what we do. And in my lens, it is a great opportunity for all of us to do something to make this world a little better. And I hope and I wish that MCCI can take the lead in this. As an organization, we are very proud to be associated with MCCIA and with Pune Expo. My heartfelt gratitude to the organizers, because I know how difficult it is to plan an event of this scale. And I wish you all the very best for this event. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Varghese. As we come toward the conclusion of the inaugural function, I request Mr. Prashant Kirbane to please propose a vote of thanks.
Thank you, Madhura. The Commissioner talked about the MCCIA survey that we conducted just last week. I thought I'll just highlight very quickly. We surveyed 108 companies. Any one of you who participated in the survey? Yeah, some of you participated. And they all suggested, as the Commissioner mentioned, that 81% of you think there is a growth happening, and almost 40% of you are saying that there is 20% plus growth happening. Right? So when today I was listening to, I was reading, I think it was Dr. Arvind Pangaria who talked about we're going to see 7% plus growth. Earlier it was 5.8%. Moving ahead, the finance minister talked about how the government capex should increase, which will propel the growth. All of this is indicating higher growth. Not just that, we looked at the credit data of the banks who give credit to Pune-based companies. And I think a friend of mine in Indian Express did this. It was published yesterday in Indian Express. That credit data is also showing that there is stupendous growth on credit uptake in Pune district as compared to many other districts. All of this is suggesting that we have better days ahead. Of course, we are never happy with just that. And hence, we'll continue to talk about infra moves. so that we can continue to improve on that. And we would continue to thank you at the same time for whole lot that has happened, because you are accessible, because we are able to come to you with all of these challenges, because you are able to reflect on it from your own lens on which ones to be taken up at what point in time are taken forward. So we are genuinely grateful to you. A round of applause to his team and the PCMC Commissioner. When PCMC administration would turn 50, the chamber would turn 100. Right? That's the same time almost. So we would also be around to make sure that we contribute to, in terms of thoughts, ideas on Lighthouse, the solar one, the decarbonization one, the city strategy one. We'll be very, very glad to do that. Moving forward, I think also when you looked at the PCMC as the geographic unit, it'll be very interesting at some stage, and we'll take it up separately also. If an academic institute is able to look at the city-based GDP, which I think Dr. Jyoti Chandaramani of Symbiosis University had done this, and how that is changing, and if there could be a way, as you had hinted, you being yourself somebody who has looked at not how the construction thing itself kind of like moves different sectors, different areas. How is it changing, right? From the manufacturing to manufacturing plus services to services, right? Some of those that bring in a lot of investment, but maybe not as many jobs. And 3-4 of those examples that you mentioned, they're good and great, and we welcome them, but they don't bring as many jobs. Some of those that bring jobs would possibly need a lot more space, and when space becomes premium, investment in PCMC area to kind of do newer industry is becoming difficult. I think we'll be very glad to also assist you and your team to kind of like, by giving our inputs in this regard. Nimbalkar Saab talked about ramp. This is happening once in many decades almost, right? For the first time, through an initiative, thousands of MSMEs are getting some kind of training or other. From 1st April, we don't like 1st April, 2nd April, because people don't believe. From 2nd April till today, we helped 5,700 MSMEs in 25 districts, thanks to the ramp program of MCCIA. Now that's significant. I don't know when did we talk about thousands of them. We used to talk about hundreds of them because that's where we're based in Pune. The new technology, new world that Mr. George Verghese talked about and futuristic, that's why you would go around, when you see the Expo, you would have many of those entities working on IoT, working on the AI. And not just that, while we have all the future, we also need the base foundation. We would always eat with spoon and plate. That's how it's been for centuries, right? So the same way, we would always need certain parts of the manufacturing, and they're equally important while we look at the likes of the artificial intelligence and the IoTs of the world. So you'll have a mix of both of those when you would visit there. There is one interesting initiative which I want to mention to you that MCCIA is doing at its own cost. Any MSME from the state, पूर्ण महाराष्ट्र राज्यातली कुठलीही लघुमध्यम उद्योजक कंपनी जर फोन केली, आय ट्रान्सलेट इट, जर त्यांनी फोन केलं तर त्यांना हवी ती माहिती फक्त MCCIA मधलेच अधिकारी नव्हे तर जे कुठले तज्ञ लोक लागतील त्यांना MCCIA पैसे देईल आणि ती माहिती पुरवेल. फक्त एक काम करू शकणार नाही MCCIA, मला हे विकायचं मला कस्टमर आणून द्या, ते होणार नाही कारण ते तुमचं काम आहे, आणि किंवा हे मला प्रोड्यूस करून दे, तेही होणार नाही कारण ते तुमचं काम आहे. पण अदर दॅन दोज टू थिंग्स, GST, जेम, लोन रिलेटेड इश्यू, प्रपोजल लिहून पाहिजे, प्रपोजल रिव्ह्यू करून पाहिजे, या सर्व गोष्टी आमच्या खर्चाने ह्या केल्या जातील MCCIA मेंबरसाठी, मित्रांसाठी सुद्धा. अशी MSME हेल्पलाईन सुरुवात केली गेलेली आहे. त्यामध्ये हे अनाउन्स करायला वेळ लागला कारण आम्ही अगोदर विचार केला काहीतरी करूयात आणि मग बोलूयात. त्यामध्ये मागच्या 3-1 आठवड्यामध्ये किमान 60-70 लोकांनी आम्ही जेम रजिस्ट्रेशन फक्त करायचं नव्हे तर जेममध्ये इंट्रॅक्शन ट्रान्झॅक्शन कसं करायचं इथपर्यंत मदत केलेली आहे, हँड होल्डिंग केलेलं आहे ॲट आवर कॉस्ट. सो विल कंटिन्यू टू डू दिस. MCCIA MSME हेल्पलाईन, त्याचा नंबर वगैरे पूर्ण एक्सपोमध्ये तुम्हाला पब्लिश केला जाईल. यू कॅन बुक अन अपॉइंटमेंट अँड यू कॅन यूज द सर्व्हिस फॉर फ्री. last but not the least, I should stand here to thank each and every one of you. I think when you mentioned, Mr. Varghese, about the Kirloskar Group, the Kirloskar Group name is synonymous with Maharashtra's industrial legacy. It's synonymous with MCCIA. The great Shantarao Kirloskarji presided over MCCIA for good 16 years. And the value-based foundation he had, that's helping us to continue for decades together with the same strength. So we're very, very grateful to the legacy of SLK, to the legacy of Sri Atul Kirloskar, who was president of MCCIA, and thankful to Ms. Gauri Kirloskar for coming forward and wanting to support it. The legacy of generations wanting to continue to support an initiative requires an initiative with certain purity of objective, requires an initiative where all of you believe that it's yours. And hence, all that we think in the chamber is how is it that we make sure that this thought continues to be there and we would have continuation of the generation after the generation wanting to support and come together. While at one hand we have the Kirloskars with fourth generation wanting to support, on the other hand we have the first generation entrepreneurs. We have somebody sitting here, Mr. Ram Jogdan, he's a first generation entrepreneur, still building his business and decides that wants to sponsor and support such an event, right? How does this happen? It happens because all of you believe it's yours. And our job at the chamber is to make sure this is how it continues to be. I thank each and every one of you for coming here and exhibiting. We would continue to take all the efforts to drive more traffic, not on the streets, more traffic as in more visitors visiting your stalls. My colleague, Sudhanva Koppadekar, who has taken all the efforts to put it together, so a huge round of applause for him as well. Thank you each and every one of you, and thank you so much once again to all the dignitaries on the dais. Many thanks and wishing you all the great success at the Expo.